Welcome back, guys, to Stuttercast, a podcast where we discuss everything cinema. Welcome to episode number three. And like the last episode, you may or may not hear intro music after this clap. All right.
Yeah,
Without wasting any more time, let's just get into the first film that we're going to discuss today. It is an Indian language film. It's a film called Manto, which is a 2018 biographical film about one of the most famous Urdu writers, Saadat Hasan Manto. The film is written and directed by Nandita Das, and it stars Nawazuddin Siddiqui. All right,
yeah.
what did you think about the film?
First of all, it's a 2018 release, right?
Yeah,
Manto.
yeah, yeah. Go
It's
ahead.
about the one of the writers in the uh, Bombay, which was before the independence.
Independence. Yeah,
Bombay's film industry, film world for the studio, the Bombay Talkies. Manto was an established story writer in Indian industry who
yeah.
was who had to move to Pakistan due to the partition and the
Partition.
things which happened uh, over the time.
Yeah.
So without wasting any time, I'll say about the film. The cast of the film was especially good. Nawaz, I mean, Nawaz's acting is something which is the best in right now in Indian film
Yeah.
industry. Okay, so first of all, the film.
Hmm.
The film is about a Urdu author Sadat Hasan Manto. When I first saw the film, I didn't knew about Manto.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah, so I had to like search, do a search his works and
Hmm.
what type of things he used to write, what happened, and all over the background story and all
Yeah.
what influenced and overall the thing. So what I generally understood was that his writing was kind of depressing, nihilistic, but
Yeah.
realistic in nature,
Yeah.
and it was kind of I mean, at that time it was depressing, nihilistic, but realistic, showing the world the things which are
Hmm.
happening.
Hmm.
And he had a kind of rhythm in his writing.
Yeah.
So that we are talking about the real Sadat Hasan Manto right
Yeah.
now, not the movie. Okay,
Hmm.
so getting to the part of the movie, Manto is a biopic on Sadat Hasan Manto and the depiction of his life.
Hmm.
Okay, it was a good script to depict his life and like seamlessly tell the stories of his life, how it transitioned from the streets of Bombay
Hmm.
to Lahore in
Love. Yeah.
Pakistan. And yeah, and Nawazuddin Siddiqui's acting is quite flawless in the movie,
Hmm.
and which is something you cannot ignore when you watch the movie. The
Yeah.
emotions which he has portrayed, the shift in his state of mind.
Hmm.
Okay, so as he becomes a little bit delusional to the end of the film.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something which I liked about the film.
Yeah.
And also Rasika Duggal, who
His
plays the
wife.
role of his wife.
Hmm.
Yeah, even her role was quite good.
Yeah.
What do you like about the movie?
Okay. So I think the movie's good. I've seen the movie twice. I watched it the first time in the theaters, and second time I watched it with my parents at home. And I think it's a good film. And okay, so before talking about the film, I'll just again talk about Manto a little bit. For the people who have not seen the film, I would suggest just go and read about Manto a little bit. Just go and read some of his short stories and all. It will definitely add to your experience if you know what the director is trying to tell. Talking about the film, I think the film, it blends Manto's real life with some of his most famous works really well. Throughout the film, um, Nandita Das has shown five of his most famous stories. The first one that she has shown is a story called Das Rupai. The second story is
Yeah.
100 candle power ka bulb. The third one is Khol Do. The fourth one is Thanda Ghost, and the last one is Toba Tek Singh.
What
So,
texting?
yeah, Tobatic Singh. And each of these stories, like, it represents Manto's state of mind at various points in his life. Right. So
Yeah.
the first two stories, so first two to three stories, they talk about the pre-independent Bombay, and most of his work, it talked about society a lot. And he
Yeah.
says that in the film as well. He says, my work is just a mirror that I hold up against the society, and if the society is ugly, then why do you blame me? Because I'm just a mirror who is showing societies their face. And the first two stories, Das Rip and Saw Candle Power Ka Bulb, both of them, they deal with the issue of prostitution. And the next two stories, Kholdo and Thandagosh, they're very disturbing stories as well. And the last one, Tobatek Singh, it's a very absurd sort of a story, but when the story is shown in the film, it goes perfectly with what is going on, because the character in that story, the character in Tobatik Singh, he sort of mirrors Sadat Hassan Manto at that point in his life. So I think they have done that really well. And
Yeah.
blending the stories and his life together, it grips you. Like you never lose interest in the film. Talking about the cinematography, I think the cinematography doesn't do anything really special, but just enough uh, to bring the pre-independence era to life, especially the color tones and all. And the production design adds to it too. It is the production design is very detailed, and it feels really authentic. So, and it is very clear that there was a focus on recreating that time period, and I have to say that they have done a really good job regarding that. um Things that I didn't like, I think where the film sort of lacks is the script. And when I say it's not a bad script, I would say I think the script is written well, but it just doesn't go anywhere concretely. Like, I know they wanted to show a man's descent into despair and helplessness. Right, he becomes an alcoholic. His life is basically a mess towards the end of the film, and that's what they wanted to show, that how the partition and the events surrounding Manto made him that way. It basically drove him crazy. That's what the film is going for, but I don't think it moves you. uh, right, you don't really connect with Manto's helplessness, his hopelessness, his fears, his anger. I don't think you connect with those emotions. Unlike Pyasa, uh, Pyasa is one of the best Hindi films, and we will definitely talk about it in some future
Later.
episode. Yeah, but it also deals with a very similar concept. It deals with the poet who because of the situation that he finds himself in, he turns into an alcoholic, and then his lives becomes a mess. But his I would say his helplessness, or his descent into despair, I think that is very moving. But here, I think
Yeah,
the film lacks in that sense. Do you want to add something to it?
yeah. The thing is, why the film lacks and why it is so is because for that you have to connect with the real Sadat Hassan Manto's writing. Yeah, regarding the screenplay was good because the thing is screenplay was poetic.
Hmm.
There was a it was quite heavy in the sense of literature.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
quite
Yeah.
poetic. It was rhythmic.
Hmm.
So a normal person who will watch the film cannot quite connect to it
Hmm.
instantly.
Hmm.
You're getting what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but when I watched the film the second time, I did read some of the stories. When I say I didn't connect with him in this sense, I didn't connect to his feelings. Like when he feels like everything around him is just hopeless, and he is very
Yeah.
angry. Right. I don't think the screenplay was gripping enough for me, at least, to connect to it that much. I think Nawazuddin Siddiqui's performance is just fantastic. I just knew even before watching the film that he is going to do a great job. Uh, but I think the screenplay wasn't as compelling, I would say, as I would have liked it to be.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Since the screenplay was poetic, to understand it, you cannot. You cannot connect to it quite mm, to the level which you want to with the other films right
Hmm,
now.
hmm.
The thing is, since the real Manto's writing style was nihilistic and
Yeah,
realistic
I know.
in nature.
Hmm,
Yeah, that's the thing. There were a few scenes in the movie which were quite powerful. I'll say,
hmm.
like the court scene in
Yeah, the court
Pakistan.
scenes were really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the court scene was really good, and also the construction of the story of
Hmm,
Hamid and his wife.
hmm, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's where you see how a writer observes and writes his story.
yeah.
Also, during that time, his stories were considered obscene by the
Obscene.
court,
Yeah.
and since he was considered as a quite progressive writer at that time.
Hmm,
But today, when we look back to his works, it is authentic and independent kind of story or independent account on what the things happened at that
at that
moment,
time, and
what the
and some
things
of the
happened
stories
at
that
that
he wrote
time.
about, you can still find such elements in the society as well.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like the story of Toba Tek Singh,
Tobatik Singh, yeah.
Toba Tek Singh. Yeah, when he's in the mental asylum
Aside.
in Lahore,
Hmm,
he kind yeah, he kind of like he is he wants to portray the he wants to say to the world the his state of mind, where right now he is in that kind of no man's land between both the countries.
hmm,
He cannot connect to any one thing. He cannot like go for one choice. So that's the thing which he had portrayed in his original literature.
yeah. Like I said, the five stories that they have shown in the film, uh, they all represent Manto's state of mind at that particular point in his life. So the film ends on Tobatik Singh because the character in that story, it is very similar to how Manto was at
Yeah.
that particular time. Um, so yeah, I think they have done that part really well.
I mean, portraying his works, that was something they have done well. And cinematography, I don't think it affected quite good, but the color, but the colors, the color palette of the film was to portray to show the uh, pre-independence, then independent, and a few years after the independence,
Hmm.
the the timeline of that.
Yeah,
So the colors which have shown was quite good.
yeah. The color palette is almost colorless. You know, like the colors are very
Yeah.
toned down. I also think that his wife's character was underused, and I'm surprised actually because the writer director is a woman. So I thought that she would have some feminine elements in the film, but that wasn't the case. So
Movies take on artistic freedom and all. It was with Manto, but the character of his wife could have been much better
could have been
if,
much more used, I would say.
a-
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, much more used
Hmm.
if she would have done it.
Yeah.
And also the thing, the movie was quite good in terms of writing.
Hmm.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I just thought that the
In short, I
screenplay was
yeah,
a little weak. They did a good
no,
job in
yeah,
showing Saadat Hassan Manto's story, like his original work, but his
work quite
biographical part was a little weak, I would say.
that was an area where
Could have done a
they could have
much better
done
job. Yeah.
something a little much better.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, other than that, the movie did hit the correct notes.
Yeah, but it didn't do enough,
Uh, yeah,
I would say.
a little more focus in those
Yeah.
areas would have made the
Hmm.
movie a masterpiece.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say about the movie.
Yeah.
So, how
Uh,
much would you rate this movie?
so I would give it a 7 on 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it uh I'll give it a three and a half. No, I'll give it a 3.7 out of 5.
5. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that was Manto.
That,
Please check the
uh,
film out. It's on Netflix, and read a little bit about uh, Manto
the
before
literature of Manto.
before
Yeah.
watching the film. So yeah,
That was about Manto.
that was Manto. Yeah. All right. So the next film that we're going to talk about is a film which is very close to me. It's my favorite animated film of all time. It's a film called Spirited Away, and I'm quite sure that most of you must have heard of the film. Some of you might have also seen the film. So, Spirited Away is a 2001 Japanese animated film, which is written and directed by the great Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli. And yeah, I'll just start by saying this film is an absolute masterpiece. And okay, first, I would like to hear your views on it.
Okay, first, why don't you explain the plot of the movie? Then we'll get
Okay,
to these
so the
things.
plot of the film is a little, I would say, weird. So, Spirited Away, it tells a story of Chihiro, who is a 10-year-old girl, and she is moving away to a new town, and along the way, uh, uh, her family stumbles upon this abandoned amusement park, and
Hmm.
later turns out that that abandoned park is actually the realm of spirits. It's a world of spirits. Um, and yeah, it's like you just heard, it's a very weird plot, but trust me, it is like when you watch the film, it makes sense. Trust me.
So Spirited Away by first of all, Studio Ghibli is one of the best and my favorite
Yeah,
uh,
it's the best. It's the
animated.
best animated
Yeah,
studio. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the best
animation studio.
out there. Animation studio and one of the best, one of my favorites.
Hmm.
And they have made quite good. They have made quite good animated movies
Hmm.
for everyone. I'll say they are not just for kids.
Kids, yeah.
Uh, okay, so regarding the film Spirited Away, Spirited Away was released in 2001. It's a Japanese animated fantasy film
Hmm.
by Hayao Miyazaki
Hayao Miyazaki, yeah.
and Hayao Miyazaki. Yeah. Sorry for that.
Hmm.
Why I loved the film was it's not something the plot was not something which you see in any okay if even if you have animated animations and animated films regarding ghost stories and all
Hmm.
but the Miyazaki's Spirited Away. First of all, the storytelling style of Miyazaki is quite unique, and
Amazing.
uh, yeah, it's something I love.
Yeah,
And the plot of the film is kind of a coming of age
yeah. We will
adventure.
talk about the theme later.
Yeah.
I have written an article on it. I'm just going to read that.
Oh,
So yeah,
so that's the thing. I mean, Miyazaki's filmography is something which I love, and so which is why I saw the movie,
yeah,
and instantly when I watched the movie, I know it's of Studio Ghibli. I'll definitely like it.
yeah.
So we'll now talk about what should we talk about?
Let's
Uh,
talk a little about the animation and the music and all the technical stuff, the sound design and all.
okay,
So, do you want me to start uh, about the animation
the
thing?
I guess the yeah okay you go ahead.
Okay, so and this is not just for this particular film. Like the animation style of Studio Ghibli in general is very simple, but it's very effective as well. So first of all, for those of you who don't know, it's not 3D animation; it's 2D animation. And yeah, so it's basically like all the Japanese cartoons that we have watched growing up. So it's
Yeah,
basically like that. But I think where Studio Ghibli excels in their animation is the way uh, they do the character movements. I think that their character movements are so natural. Like the amount of detail that they put in every single thing. How the tears will fall. The tears will fall off a round cheek, uh, or 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 how a little girl would wear her shoes. These little things, they do it so well. They do it so amazingly well that it just adds so much to your viewing experience. It's like next level of imagination, and it's next level of animation. Like they won't draw like perfect strands of hair like you see in all your Pixar films, but I think their characters have so much heart in them. It's just brilliant. So the animation aspect of not only this film but Studio Ghibli as a whole is just brilliant. Talking about this
unique.
film,
It's unique.
it's very unique as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Talking about the music, I think the music of this film is quite simple. I would say, especially with a story like this, you will expect that the music would be something crazy, but no, like most of the soundtrack consists of a simple piano score, and
yeah.
like just the first five keynotes are like enough to make you cry. even the sound design, like people don't generally talk about the sound design when it comes to this film. I think the sound design is done really well. Like the sounds when characters are walking bare feet, or when they are walking while wearing a footwear, or when someone is getting punched, and the squelch sound that that comes. I think every single, like, these little details, they do it so well. They do it so well that
Yeah,
it just becomes an immersive experience. Yeah, so
yeah.
I'll talk about the themes next, but do you want to add something to it? Do you want to add something to what we just
So
said?
the score of the film was, I guess, made by the Miyazaki's the regular Joy Hisaishi. I mean, I don't know if I'm
Hisaishi, yeah.
pronouncing it right.
Hisaishi.
Probably I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess. And the score of the movie was something which I really love. And also the things you said, the way they have paid attention to even the smallest
details.
sound which we hear, whether it may be the wind, or whether it may be the girl walking, whether any character walking,
Yeah,
whether they, yeah, whether it's just the train, the background sound of a train going somewhere.
going
So
by.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
something which they have, yeah, that is something which they have focused on, and which is why the soundtrack of the movie was quite good,
Yeah. Even
I'll
the
say.
sound design
And
is brilliant.
yeah, I mean, also the soundtrack received its fair share of awards in
Hmm.
Tokyo International Anime Fair
Hmm.
and Best Music Awards
Yeah,
in the Japanese Gold Disc Award, whatever the awards were. So that's something which is good.
yeah.
And the next thing, okay, go ahead.
Uh, yeah. So I'm just going to talk about the theme of the film. I
Okay.
had written this article a while ago, so I'm just going to read that. Okay. Hayao Miyazaki's animated masterpiece Spirited Away is considered as one of the most immersive film of all time. It is due to the technical factors like the animation, sound design, and the musical score, which are all brilliantly executed. But there is way more to this film. In my opinion, it is a coming of age film. The film is very symbolic and can be interpreted in many different ways, but in my opinion, its central theme is adulthood. Children have the luxury of constantly living in the present, void of any responsibility. Adults, on the other hand, are always working towards something. They are always living in the past or in the future, but rarely in the present. In Spirited Away, we see Chihiro drive into a world of adulthood and the working world. We see her mature as it is a coming of age story. When she is introduced to us, Chihiro is actively in tune with her own thoughts in the present. Through Chihiro's lens, we see the nature of adulthood, consumption, that is greed, mm, the need for materialistic things, and the monotonous routine. All plagues, all this plagues many. These themes connect us, the audience, to the characters in this fantastical world. Consumption or greed we see through the portrayal of Chihiro's parents. When they are tempted with food, they eat without any restraint. When this desire becomes into obsession, they turn into pigs. Pigs are generally used to symbolize the greedy capitalistic nature of the world. Spirit monster, which is No Face, is also used for the same. He offers materialistic things, that is gold, to those who offer him food. Chihiro's maturation also begins at that moment when she chooses the path of restraint, when she chooses not to accept the gold. Over the course of the film, Miyazaki constantly portrays the monotony of the working world, the idea of routine, be it the workers in the bathhouse or the old man in the boiler room. All follow a strict routine. So, yeah, so I just read a small article that I wrote. It was about what themes that the film is trying to, I would say, tackle.
Okay, so I'll just say about the theme. It's a like kind of coming of age adventure drama
Hmm.
with a little comedy, fantasy
Little bit,
in
yeah.
one package. And the central person is Chihiro, who is a
Hmm.
10-year-old girl, and after kind of her parents are turned into a pigs by
Hmm.
the witch.
Yeah,
She has to take the job at that bathhouse to
bathhouse.
free her parents
Yeah,
from the magic spell, and then go back to the human world. I don't think there was a single scene in the movie which you won't like. I mean, the way it was crafted by
yeah,
the people. The Yeah, there's not there's never a single scene which you won't like. Okay, okay, this is a good scene.
yeah.
You'll definitely say it, and the plot is good. It was
Also, I'm
structured.
sorry to
Uh,
interrupt you, but also the pacing of the film. I think the film is paced really, really well. I don't think it ever uh, gets dull, or it never gets
no,
dull. It is
no,
always
yeah.
moving forward. And talking about this scene, I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes of all time, not only from this film, but like the throughout the films that I have watched. One of the scene which I absolutely love is the train scene.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
even I
I
love
want to
that.
talk about that scene. So like the train scene in Spirited Away is it's one of the most iconic scenes in this film. The film, it gives Chihiro, who is the main character, some downtime, and it gives us the down some downtime as well, because prior to this scene, there is a lot of chaos and a lot of action has happened on screen, and this is
I mean,
probably the
yeah, I
first
mean,
time this is probably the first time that we actually get some downtime. But even in this scene, a lot
yeah,
of symbolism and stuff is used. Like the train that Chihiro and No Face they travel in is filled with shadowy, human-looking spirits, right?
spirits,
Yeah. So
spirits.
and these
Yeah,
spirits they get out of train stops, and they carry their bags and their backpacks and stuff, but their
yeah,
face is never shown. It's just the shadows. I personally believe.
yeah. It's
I
a
personally
spirit.
believe that the shadows they symbolize the working class, right? Like
Yeah,
people who work every single day and they lead a very monotonous life, like, and they are most of them are just void of any happiness, and they're always striving for some kind of materialistic things, and in this case the materialistic thing is money. In one shot in that scene, we see a little girl's spirit on a train station, like she's
yeah, yeah,
probably waiting for someone, I don't know. And in the next shot, we see Chihiro looking out the window, just thinking. Like, I think this particular shot, that shot establishes her evolution from a young, naive girl to a mature adult. Now, this is just my
yeah,
interpretation of that scene, and there are many such interpretations out there. You can just Google it, and you'll get like 100 different interpretations. And Miyazaki has never like talked about this scene. Okay, so the scene, it doesn't really establish anything in the story. It doesn't really have any, I would say, relevance is the wrong word, but it doesn't have any relevance to the plot. I personally think that this
yeah,
scene provides a lot of emotional information. I think it has a very strong sense of mood to it. You know,
Yeah,
it's like it's very calm, like a slow moving train, with some of the most beautiful animation that you will see. No dialogues at all, and a very simple piano score in the background. It just lets the film, it lets the characters, and it lets us just just breathe, right? And I think it is a very melancholic, yet a very like sort of a therapeutic scene. y- like
yeah,
Miyazaki could have just shown them enter the train and cut them getting down from it. But no, he lets the scene flow. He lets us feel the emotion with no story
yeah.
to,
Because he,
with no story to
yeah,
interrupt it. He gives us some breathing time, some breathing space. Because after all,
yeah,
humans aren't robots. Right, we need time to feel emotions. Up to this point in
yeah,
this film, like there's so many things have taken place. There's like action, there's a lot of chaos is going on. But in the scene,
yeah,
it's just really sort of, it's very calm. Yeah,
yeah.
so do you want to add I'm sorry, I'm just speaking continuously.
No, no, it's fine, it's fine. The thing is, the in the movie, the girl, the Chihiro,
Hmm.
Chihiro, she's alone in a world where she doesn't know anyone quite good. I
Hmm.
mean, she doesn't know anyone, and she has to work her way through it
Hmm.
to. I mean, obviously, freeing her parents is a goal, but then even though she's working there, um, she makes a impact in the spirits. I mean, not spirit,
Yeah. Hmm.
in that world, in that unfamiliar world to her. I
Hmm.
mean, that's something which we can take from the film.
Yeah.
Okay, if you think that you this is something new to you, you have to work to make an impact in
Yeah.
in the film
Hmm.
so everyone can remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one take from the film which I think everyone should understand and
Hmm.
apply it. And even though she may have failed a little, even though she may have failed one or two times, but she did succeed in the end.
Yeah.
She did stood up to the world.
Hmm.
That's the thing. And the the thing which you said, the train scene did give us a little downtime to contemplate and think about it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's the thing. Before that shot, everything was just building up with no
Yeah.
face and everything.
A lot of
Everything was
chaos was
just
going
building,
on.
and yeah, and we needed that downtime to process
To
everything.
process
So
all the
okay,
emotions. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
and
So that's the thing,
yeah, and
and
such
yeah, go ahead.
such scenes exist in most of his films. And
Yeah,
I read one of his interview once. I think he gave that interview back in 99, I think 1999. So he was asked about uh, such scenes, like such quiet scenes in his films. Scenes where the characters will just sit for a while. They would just breathe and they would just think. And he replied,
yeah,
and I will quote his words. Uh, he replied, "We have a word for that in Japanese. It's called ma, which is emptiness. It's there intentionally."
oh,
He then clapped his hands 3 or 4 times. The time in between my clapping is ma. If you just have non-stop action with no breathing space at all, it's just chaos. But if you take a moment, then the tension building in the film can grow into a wider dimension. If you just have a constant tension and 80 degrees all the time, you'll just get numb. Yeah,
yeah,
so his basically his what he's trying to say is that when you like if you continuously just keep building up, it would just result in chaos and a mess. But if you just have a
you
few
need a
minutes,
downtime.
if you just have few minutes of quietness, just few minutes of downtime, it would just it
Yeah,
the like then the film can go into a wider dimension. So,
I mean, the movie will definitely have an impact. I
impact
mean,
on you,
it's
definitely, it will definitely
the
have an impact on you.
yeah,
You will
it'll
definitely cry
definitely have
also.
an impact
Yeah.
yeah, on the person who's watching it.
Hmm.
Uh, Overall, Spirited Away is a masterpiece
Yeah, I
by
don't have
Studio
any
Ghibli.
complaints about the film. Like I generally
Yeah,
do have,
even I
like,
don't
but
have
for
complaints.
this film, it's such a flawless film, and it's my favorite animated film of all time. We discussed my
Yeah,
second favorite animated film in the last episode, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and this is my favorite animated film.
this is your first favorite.
Yeah,
This
I
is your
just connect
favorite.
with this film so much, Amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have this piece of art, and you have to interpret it and connect with it.
Connect with it
That's the
and
beauty of watching movies.
watching movies. It's just amazing.
That's the beauty of it. Okay, so how much would you rate this film?
What do you think?
I know what you'll say, but I'll I know
Okay?
it'll definitely be
You go and rate it for me.
it'll definitely be a 10 on 10.
Yeah, of course, it will be a 10 on 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Still, I had to ask.
How
Even for me, it's a
five on
five
five?
on five.
I mean, it's a
Yeah,
flawless film. Please watch the film. It's on Netflix, so you don't have any
it's
excuse
on
not to watch it.
Netflix,
Please watch the movie and watch other Studio Ghibli
and
films as well. We will discuss them in the
yeah,
future episodes, but please watch. I think Netflix has My Neighbor Totoro.
all the Studio Ghibli
I think they
movies.
have
Yeah,
most of them as far as they have Kiki's
yeah,
delivery service as well.
Pompoko.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they have
they have
many
Castle
of
in the
Studio
Sky.
Ghibli's movies.
Yeah, they have Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, yeah, go and watch them.
Yeah, please go and watch all of them. They have Whisper of the Heart also, which is also a really good movie. They have The Wind
Yeah,
Rises. Watch The Wind Rises. It's an amazing film as well. They have Princess.
yeah,
I think they have all Studio Ghibli films. So please watch it. Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, Porco Rosso. Yeah, I've seen them
yeah.
all.
They have all the
Yeah,
movies.
they have all the movies. Yeah. So please
Yeah,
watch them. They are brilliant. And
and
yeah, so
let
that
us know how you feel
was
about a
yeah.
movie.
What yeah? Just let us know in the comments what you feel about the movie, about Spirited Away. And
And that was Spirited
that
Away.
was yeah. All right. So the next film that we are going to discuss, Suyash is going to introduce that film, and yeah, he was very excited for this film to be discussed.
Okay, so
So I'll just give him the mic and just go ahead and talk or however long you want to talk.
yeah. Okay, so the next movie is a English language movie which we are going to discuss is Thunder Road. It's a 2018 English language drama indie film. I mean independent film
Yeah.
where Jim Cummings he stars as a police officer from Texas who is dealing with his mother's death, and he has to give a eulogy at her funeral. And the movie is okay. Right now, I'll just get to the movie. So why I think this movie was everyone should watch is Thunder Road. Basically, the movie was inspired by the movie is a feature film of Jim Cummings. It's his first film. Jim Cummings is one of the upcoming writer, producer, actor in
Filmmaker.
America who is making this kind of movies and short films. And he used to work in College Humor as in production line.
Oh,
Okay, and that's when he so the Thunder Road movie is so that's when he wrote a short script for his short film.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, his short film, it was appreciated everywhere. SXSW, which is South by Southwest Sundance Film Festival also. And so he somehow raised the budget to make a feature film of the budget was around 200,000, which is which which is a budget. It's quite a, it's not even a big budget, it's a small budget
It's
to make a film.
peanuts.
Yeah, it's nothing basically. It's a it's a micro budget film with written, directed, and starring Jim Cummings himself. Uh, and the screenplay for the short film and the film was inspired by the short film. The short film was in turn inspired by a song. The name of the song is also Thunder Road.
Hmm.
Okay, and the song is by
Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen, and I'll just talk about the movie now. So the movie starts with J- Jim as a police officer giving a eulogy in the funeral, and yeah, it's a delight to watch because the he has portrayed raw human emotions, which is something I loved. It completely blew me off. Okay,
Yeah.
and you don't see that kind of things in a movie
Hmm.
right now. I mean, it's filled with anger, it's filled with love, it's filled with respect. Yeah, it's a tragic comedy basically.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy, but there is a comedic take on it also. There is humor in that tragedy,
Yeah.
and we feel his pain. We experience the transformation of the character, and the film says about how he deals with grief, with the grief, and whatever the grief might be. The film, I don't think it has depressed me, or it won't depress you because it has the appropriate humor to balance it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and I'll just talk about it a little more. I know, I mean, when first I actually first saw the movie when they were screening in a college.
Yeah. 25 PS. Yeah.
Yeah. They screened in a college. Then I went and saw again the movie. I saw the short film. Then I heard the song. Okay, that's when I was okay. This is something which everyone should watch, and I started recommending it to everyone.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So Thunder Road, it's a tragic comedy.
Hmm.
That's what I have said. And regarding, okay, why don't you say what do you think about the film, and then we'll continue afterwards.
Yeah.
Why don't you say what do you think about the film?
Yeah. I think the film was great. I loved it, and I
Yeah,
was very surprised because I knew that the film was made in a very low budget, but it didn't feel like a low budget film at all. It didn't feel like it was
yeah,
made in $200,000. And when I say it doesn't feel like a low budget film, I don't mean by the image quality, but just how brilliantly executed the film is. I think the story, let's just
yeah,
start with the screenplay. I think the script is written knowing well that you're going to have some limitations while shooting it. But at the same time, Jim Cummings hasn't compromised on the quality of the script at all. I just loved how much care has been put into each character, like even the small ones, like the way they talk and way they interact with each other. I mean, it's just so well done. Secondly, the presentation style, the cinematography is so good. It's so good. Like the
yeah,
camera movements, the way the camera moves, the amount of long takes which are there, and the long takes are there for a purpose. It's not just a gimmick.
yeah. I'll say about it.
If you look at the opening scene, the camera doesn't cut for the first 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the camera just pushes into the character very slowly. Like the camera movements are so fluid and they're so well done. Like it just doesn't feel like it was made in like a $200,000 uh, budget.
budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like the film. Yeah, you were saying something.
Mm, so the thing why they have a lot of long takes is because the obviously because of the budget,
Hmm.
$200,000. They don't have the comfort to have multiple
Mul-
takes for it,
Yeah, multiple takes. Like
because
even the
the
time.
number of takes you, yeah, even the time, that
Hmm.
the number of takes you take, the that amount of the budget just shoots up then.
Hmm.
Even you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And the and what I'll say is about the screenplay. He obviously had to think about budget while writing it.
Hmm.
And I mean, I have read how he raised that $200,000. He himself put his own savings. His mother did give him $1,000 or $1,500 for the budget,
Oh.
and this is how he and then he got some producers then
Hmm.
for the film. That's how he
I
helped
think the
him.
short
And
film helped him a lot to
what
find producers. Yeah.
Yeah. And so so now I'll talk about the movie, why everyone should watch it.
Hmm.
So definitely it's a tragic comedy, which what we can take from this film is, whatever the tragedy is in your life, there's always a little bit, you'll definitely get out of it.
Hmm.
And there's and also the humor which we have portrayed in it, it's
Yeah.
quite good. But
It's funny as well.
whatever, yeah, it's funny. The tragedy you are facing, you'll definitely get out of it. It's not something which is going to engulf you.
Hmm.
And it does give us and if you remember the movie, I mean, the relationship of the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim, he's a police officer. He's going through a divorce.
Hmm.
He just he just lost his mother. He's going through a divorce. He has a little kid. He has a little girl, and
Hmm.
how the relationship of the character affects him. And
Yeah.
also, I'll just highlight this. Okay, I'll say about it later. The I'll talk about relationship of the characters, about how whatever, uh, I mean, in the movie, the mother, I mean his wife, his ex-wife, or the mother who is shown in the film,
Hmm.
not mother, sorry, I mean his ex-wife.
Hmm.
She's shown to be a toxic influence on his daughter.
Hmm.
Yeah, but still, whatever things maybe, he's working to support, he's working to support his daughter, and that's something which is not acknowledged in a society.
Hmm.
And I'll say about the relationship of the characters also, because if you observe it quite carefully, when he's giving the eulogy, he says that he was dyslexic as a child.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he had to face a lot of difficulties in understanding, learning
Hmm.
everything. And uh, and when he's called to the school for regarding to talk with the teacher regarding the his own kid,
Hmm.
and then he learns that even she's showing the same tendencies now, even
Yeah.
she's showing the
That
uh,
she is having
tendencies
difficult
of
to
a
read and
dyslexic.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that scene was quite
Very
powerful
powerful, very
because
heartfelt. Yeah.
yeah, because he just remembered the amount of troubles which his mother had to go through to make him understand and think,
Hmm.
and the way, I mean, so that's it, and whatever the thing is going on with his wife, with
Hmm.
whom he is currently having a
Yeah.
divorce proceedings in the court, but then he doesn't let it affect on his kid. He tries
Yeah. He
quite
tries his best.
really hard to, yeah, he tries his best, and his wife is not, uh I mean, she doesn't think about it, she doesn't think about anything.
Hmm.
So you feel, as which is why the raw emotions which you have portrayed in the movie, you feel for him. And also it gives us the opportunity to talk about the friendship between his and Nate's friendship.
Hmm.
And because it was, so I mean, his friendship, the relationship between whatever his family may be, but he still had a friend to talk to, and I mean, who can settle him down.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing. And also the end, also in the end, uh, in the end where he just go and he hugs him out,
Oh yeah,
when
that
he,
little scene is
yeah,
really sweet. Yeah.
yeah, that little scene had did say many things to us,
Yeah.
because okay, that's one thing which which is something which everyone should think on.
Hmm.
Yeah, and after that, when he goes to his kid, and he talks to her about the life, and okay, we are moving from here, we'll go to a new place,
Hmm.
we'll just uh, start a new life, and then that one thing, that one scene is what which I loved quite a lot in the movie,
Hmm.
that one scene. And I'll say about the soundtrack of the movie, the soundtrack was quite good. Even in the last scene, I love the soundtrack.
Hmm.
The I guess it was by Bon Iver.
No,
The
the
cover, I
music.
guess it was
No, the
the,
music is by Jim Cummings only.
yeah, I know the music is by Jim Cummings, but
The song.
at the end of the movie,
Okay. Okay.
it's a cover of the song by Bon Iver. I don't remember the name
Okay.
exactly, but it's a cover. Yeah, it's a cover of the song by Bon Iver.
Okay.
The and even if you have seen, and even when you see the movie, it is okay, the scene where he talks with his daughter about the makeup,
Hmm. Oh yeah, I want to talk about that scene.
about the makeup,
Yeah,
yeah, makeup scene.
the way the camera is handled in that scene, like the camera very slowly pushes in the
Yeah,
character. I just really like that, and I want to go back to the budget. I have seen a lot of these independent filmmakers. They make a short film, they submit it to these festivals, and from there they get producers to fund their feature film. Even Damien Chazelle did the same with Whiplash. He actually made a short film,
yeah,
and when he submitted the short film in 2013 in Sundance, there he got producers to fund his film. So that is a trend
yeah,
we see a lot in these independent filmmakers. Yeah, so I just want to talk about the soundtrack, the music. I thought that the music could have been done a little better because all the other elements in the scene they have been done so well.
yeah,
They don't feel like they come from a low budget film, but the music I just thought was underwhelming. I think like most of the soundtrack consists of just a single instrument. I would have uh, liked to see a little more variation in the soundtrack of the film, because I think the soundtrack uh, plays a lot of role, especially in such films. I think the soundtrack plays a lot of role, and I think only that little thing I thought that they could have done a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's the thing, because Thunder Road is something which is close to Jim Cummings. He had definitely he said about it, because when he used to work for College Humor, I mean, he used to do three or four sketches per week,
Um,
and those sketches are basically for brands and all,
France, yeah.
and yeah, and before working for College Humor, he did won the awards for the short film of Thunder Road.
Um,
And so the movie is something which is uh, which so he movie was a thing, was a moment for him where he got out of it, and now, okay, now he have left that.
hmm.
So that's one thing. So that was one thing which he portrayed at the end of the movie, where he compared the town,
Yeah.
where he said about the town. So that was one thing which I which I noticed
Hmm.
when I read about how the movie was made, and then when I saw the movie.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, so
Uh, uh,
regard also,
and
yeah,
one
go
more thing I
ahead.
want to mention: the opening scene of the film. It is
Yeah,
so brilliant. It's funny and it's tragic. It's sad at the same time. It's so
yeah,
good. It's so well done. And I mentioned this in the last episode as well. I said that sometimes like the opening scene tells you like how this film is going to feel, how it's going to look and sound, and all that. And from the
yeah,
opening scene, like the first few minutes, 2, 3 minutes, I knew that I'm going to love this film, and I wasn't disappointed at all. So I just love the
yeah.
film. It's a really well made film. I don't know why he didn't release this on any streaming platform, because he is the
I guess,
distributor as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did had meetings with Netflix, but eventually it failed for we don't know why.
Uh, because I think if he would have
Yeah,
released this on Netflix, it would have gotten more attention.
much better.
Definitely,
Yeah,
and people would have watched it.
which is why I chose the movie for the third episode, because Thunder Road is a movie which people need to
Support.
watch it. It needs more attention. People
Yeah,
need to support. I mean, Thunder Road. I mean, the story behind making Thunder Road is basically can be used as a case study for upcoming filmmakers.
yeah, definitely,
It's that good. It's
100%.
that good.
It's a really well made film.
Yeah, the story behind making Thunder Road is a case study for upcoming filmmakers.
Hmm.
Even the people from Sundance Institute, people from SXSW, which is South by Southwest,
Film
even
festival.
they have said it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, which is why the movie completely blew me away. It is
um,
something which I have not seen. I mean, even if I have seen it, I have not like quite uh, taken away from the film. And I'll just say one last thing about the relationships of the character, where I guess I'm probably repeating it. Yeah, okay. I was just repeating it. I'll not say it. I was
hmm.
just going to say about how even till the end, at the end, whatever the things happen,
Yeah,
the yeah, he still he never I mean the he talks with his daughter, and he never like, whatever the thing may be, he doesn't disrespect his wife.
Hmm.
I mean, throughout the movie,
Yeah, he
whatever
never he
the
never
plot, what
accuses his wife of anything.
yeah, in front of his daughter,
Hmm.
whatever whatever he has to say, he may have said with his friend Nate.
Hmm.
I mean, but that's one thing which I liked, and that one thing which I have to point out. Also the relationship of the characters of of the Jim and Nate.
Hmm.
It was quite good.
Yeah, yeah. Even that relationship.
So,
I also like the way the characters talk with each other. Like there are a few scenes like when he's talking to his wife on the phone when he served the divorce papers, and he's
yeah,
standing on the reception desk at his office, like at the police station, and the officer who is at the reception, they have a little conversation. Like even that conversation was so uh, was written really well. And when he goes and meet his daughter's teacher, even even the conversation that they have, even that is done really well. So I think
yeah. I mean,
it's a very
yeah.
well written movie.
I mean, even in that conversation, he did mention that he'll definitely try hard uh, to to make things easy for his daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's one thing which I liked in the movie. And obviously, this is a movie which I would recommend everyone to watch it. I mean, support these feature films because they are not easy to make.
Ah, that is very true.
Mm, so so that that is Thunder Road, guys.
How much do you rate the film?
Watch the movie. Okay, I'll give it a 5 on 5.
5.5.
What about you?
I'll give it an 8 on 10, which is closer to a 9 than a
Nice,
7. Yeah, 8 on 10, basically.
nice,
Yeah,
nice. So
love the
that is Thunder Road, guys. Go and watch it. It's you have to definitely download it from somewhere
yeah,
because it's
unfortunately.
not on any streaming platform
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Yeah, and let us know how do you feel about all the three movies which I have discussed, and the recommendations for the next episode. If you want any specific movies which we should talk about,
The further episodes, please let us know in the
yeah,
comments. And
and
yeah, and the next episode, we might have a guest for the first time. So um, keep an eye on that. I don't know when the fifth
yeah.
episode will release, but whenever it will release, we might have a guest. So yeah, so that was episode 3 of Stuttercast. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.